And now, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy continues to move forward on his promise to investigate the weaponization of government. And here's what he said yesterday when asked about Biden's burgeoning classified documents scandal. Watch this.
Well, it just shows the hypocrisy and why the American public does not trust their government. What's real concerning to me is how justice is applied, and is it applied equally? Why do you raid President Trump? His wasn't just lock, was padlock. They knew it was there. They could have come and taken it at any time they wanted. They were communicating with one another. Now we're finding time and again a locked garage door that opens and closes by a push of the button. And this is a prime example of why we passed this week a new select committee that will fall under Jim Jordan's committee for the weaponization of government.
They could never get in his garage. No one knows his code. It's 1235, not 1234. And meanwhile, even Congressman Adam Schiff is calling for an intelligence assessment concerning the Biden documents, while Democrat leadership in the House and Senate remain mostly silent. Will Democrats hold Biden to the same standard as former President Trump? Here to answer that and much more, former Speaker of the House and Fox News contributor and our friend Newt Gingrich. Speaker, thanks for being here. What role could Kevin McCarthy play in this? I mean, they do have the gavel now. Should they be investigating this, and to what extent?
Well, look, I think with Speaker McCarthy's leadership, they have a huge role to play, and this is why the election was really, really important, because now you have people in charge of these committees who are going to have the power of subpoena, and there are so many questions outstanding, starting with the Biden documents. For example, it leads you right into the University of Pennsylvania, which received millions and millions of dollars from the Chinese communists, and the whole question of how was that money accounted for, to what degree did virtually the entire Biden team, including the Secretary of State, earn a living off of money from the University of Pennsylvania, which was fungible from the Chinese communists. Second, it gets you into the Hunter Biden situation when you find out that there were documents that were classified about Ukraine. And you remember that Hunter Biden was making tons of money out of Burisma, a Ukrainian natural gas company, in an area where he had literally zero information. It was purely a payoff to have access to his father. That gets you into another thing. The third question is, how come the lawyers knew where to look? Who told them? I mean, who actually knows all this stuff? And then finally, you have to raise the question, if there were 22 or 23 armed FBI agents going through Mar-a-Lago, how come nobody's gone through the various homes? I think there are 3 different homes that Biden lives in, plus various offices. Where's the FBI presence? This whole thing is just one more example of the total corruption of the current system and the degree to which people, and this includes NBC News, I mean, that was an absurd interview. Anybody who could look at Hunter Biden's background, the amount of money he got, the degree to which it's been covered up by the FBI, and not think there's something profoundly wrong, frankly, shouldn't be on television. I think it's amazing that NBC could have the head of Meet the Press this totally one-sided and totally dishonest.
We could go on and on, not to mention paying $50,000 a month to your dad for a house he owns that would be worth maybe $5,000 a month to pay. I mean, you could go on and on. Well, Mr. Speaker, how does this happen? Joe Biden was supposed to be the old salty dog, the pro. He knows every nook and cranny of Washington and how it works. Because this is a political debacle for him, not just a legal morass, but a political debacle.
Look.
How did someone who professed to be the adult in the room look so childish?
I think part of the problem is people currently are looking at they're not even looking at the tree. Forget the forest. They're not even looking at the tree. They're looking at the leaf, this leaf and then that leaf. The objective reality is that America has been decaying into a country of enormous, deep corruption. When you have $20 billion stolen from the California unemployment system, and nothing really has been done about it, basically by inmates in the California prisons. When you have $620 million stolen from the Washington state unemployment compensation system, most of it by Nigerians. When you have the depth of corruption we've seen across the whole system. You've had the level of corruption in the senior FBI. This is just part of the same story. It's not about Biden. It's about a much deeper establishment which has grown very sick and very corrupt, and which is a threat to the very survival of freedom in this country in ways we can't even begin to imagine. It includes partly business community leaders, includes partly the news media. It certainly includes large parts of the academic world who've taken money from various dictatorships and then hidden it and lied about it. And in this particular case, maybe we finally reached the ultimate apex of this. We now have a president of the United States who, for all practical purposes, runs a criminal family. His two brothers, his son. There's no other reasonable behavior that explains it, except they were all selling influence, and he knew it, and he personally profited from it.
And everybody else knows it, and if they call that out, it calls out who they are and what they do. Monumental task in front of the new Speaker of the House in Washington, D.C. Thanks for laying it out. The reality of what he's up against. Newt Gingrich, thank you so much.